On this episode, don't explain your failures. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show. Welcome back. So I was away for a little bit. Ben had to take over and filled in with Davey there and popped the show off, which hopefully you enjoyed, but we have a new one. We're gonna have a lot more coming soon. And the thing I wanted to talk about, one of the first things that came to mind, I talked to one of our guys this morning, and we were talking about how salespeople can sort of get caught up in almost the losses or the failures of a deal or deals or things that go on within your sales day. And the interesting thing is you can use them kind of as a crutch. You can sort of start focusing in on failures and losses that you're taking on these different deals. And then after a while, it's kind of like, oh, well, I couldn't get a hold of him, or that deal didn't go, or gosh, I tried really hard. And then you start using this sort of failures or losses somewhat as an excuse, or to get sympathy from someone else, or empathy from somebody, or just to let yourself off the hook to some degree, like, I just couldn't get a hold of them. Oh, they're just really out of touch, or they're really not getting back to me, or they're not great, or whatever. And you start going into this thing and you start focusing on the failures and losses that you're taking, and you're using them as a crutch. And one analogy that I give here, and I mentioned this today, was, you see on like LinkedIn and inspirational sites and articles on Kentucky Fried Chicken, on Colonel Sanders, and everybody loves to use this one. They always like, well, Colonel Sanders didn't start his company, really get going until he was 67 or something.
He failed until he was 67.
And I really look at this as a negative, where people usually look at it as a positive, like, oh, look how great this is. And it's like there's an element of like this idea that it plants. Like, I still got time. I still got time, and well, look at Colonel Sanders, and just I still got time, and like procrastinate. I can procrastinate more. I can procrastinate more. I can fail more. I fail more. It's like that's not the model you should be using. For Colonel Sanders, there's a zillion entrepreneurs and people and business people who have had epic success in shorter amounts of time, right? You should be looking at those people and using that as a scale and saying, you know what, this person did it at 19, I'm behind, let me catch up. Don't use Colonel Sanders as an excuse or your losses as an excuse or all the different things. Don't focus on any losses, procrastination, failures, or excuses. Forget them. And don't use them as reasons. Don't tell other people about them. Don't get yourself off the hook from it. Don't use them. They're poison your head. Okay? Focus on wins, which means wins and sub-wins. Okay? If somebody doesn't get back to you, or you lose that deal, whatever, who cares? Forget it. Move on. Right? Focus on what win you got. The win you got was they picked up the phone. You talked to them, had a productive conversation with somebody. Good. Sub-product. That's a sub-win. Right? You got a proposal signed. Or you got a verbal agreement. Good. Sub-win. You got a proposal signed. Good. That's a win, right? You got the deal signed, contract in, money in the door. Good. Final win, concluded win, full product, right? Focus on all the different wins. You made 50 phone calls today. Good. Sub-win. Sub-win, right? It's a sub-win to an overall win. Focus on all the different sub-wins and wins throughout your day. Put all of your energy and attention on that. Forget the losses, forget the failures, forget any of those different things, excuses that let you off the hook, like, well, oh, I tried really hard today, but nobody got back to me, and you go home with a 0 or whatever. Like, these are just weird sort of excuses that let you off your hook, or even if you lose a deal and you come up with some reason for it or some excuse for it, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, right? And there's a couple things, like I know there are weeks when I've closed a lot of money and I'm doing really great, and I'm still working, this and that, trying to close that deal, and let's say I don't succeed at a deal. I don't care. I mean, like, yeah, I care, but like, I'm not like, oh God, what happened? But if I have 0 or low, and I'm like, I've got to have this deal. He's got to do. No, he said no. and it's like it's much worse because you haven't created an abundance ahead of time. You've like so on the one hand, you have to have the mindset of creating a lot of abundance so that you can waste when you need to, and so you're not focused on these losses. However, more basic than that is what he's saying is that at any given time, for you to put attention on the past or your losses or what didn't happen or anything like that is just you are agreeing with the grave. Like you are heading that direction, and there's no reason to, because that's all up here. All of it is upstairs. So you can look back and go, well, I didn't follow these advices, or I didn't do this and this last week, and da, da, da. It doesn't matter. Each separate unit of time is a new unit of time when you can start brand new and pick up your phone and make your sale and help a prospect and go for it. Each unit of time you can do this brand new. So if you ever spend time, and we all do to one degree or another, but if you spend an inordinate amount of time looking at these things or thinking about them at all, that's just you killing yourself.
Totally. You start to sort of like cave yourself in, and to me that's on you. That's like not ethical for you to do on yourself, right? And then oh boo-hoo, poor me. But you're doing that to yourself. It's like, stop doing it.
Yeah, because look, like I'm sure there are different businesses that have different timelines for their sales and stuff like that. But here at Richter, you can pick up your phone, and the next minute you have a client. Five minutes later, you have yourself a new client, an awesome new client. And it's very easy to do, and you never necessarily know when that's going to happen. So for any salesperson where you can actually go and get something done in the next minute, for you to be thinking about what didn't happen in the last minute is just like, it's silly.
It's insanity. It's insanity. It's like if you put all of your attention, you focus on wins, focus on sub-wins and wins. And look, I know wins sounds cliche, but I'm telling you very carefully, focus on what works. Focus on what works, focus on the wins that you're getting, focus on the good things that are happening, right? And the sub-wins, like, oh, this person picked up the phone, or oh, I finally got a hold of this person, or oh, that finally happened. Only the wins, only the sub-wins and wins, and focus on those things only, and keep doing those and make them compound and do more and more and more wins, and you ultimately stack wins. You get more wins, right? Don't look for excuses. Don't procrastinate. Don't dwell in losses or failures on cycle. Who cares? Move on quickly and focus on getting the next sub-win or win. And they will compound. You will do better, and you'll feel better about your day. It's more energizing. It's more exciting, and it wins lead the wins. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully that's a good kickoff message for you. But I'm telling you, I've seen people. They sort of like. The losses compound as well. The failures compound as well. So people start doing it, and next thing you know, they get like paralyzed where they're doing nothing, right? They're like literally, oh, this deal, and then they get stuck on that person or that conversation or that one person that like rejected them or invalidated them or something. And they look at that loss, and then they end up and they look at where they're at month-wise or the week-wise, where their numbers are at, and then and it's like this, oh my God, and this downward spiral, and then they can't, like the person's become, they're a brick, they're useless, they're an anchor,
and
they can't move at all.
Here's what happens with that: you have a failure, and maybe you have two, but maybe it only takes one, and then a person internally thinks, or subconsciously or whatever, the next call I'm going to make is going to be that again. So they stop. If you find yourself stopped and you can't do anything, or your outflow is really low, you're probably starting to think like that. Maybe you've had one loss or something like that. So just take a look and see, and just go, oh yeah, it was this guy and this other conversation went, and that was, yeah, okay, that was stupid. Let me get on to the next thing. People grind to a halt because they don't want the next thing to be
the next thing to be the other thing, the other loss they had, right? Treat the other thing as an outlier. Forget it. Just move on. Stack up your wins. Look at the wins that you got. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, it's amazing that people love the losses and the failures. I say love. I know they don't love it, but they certainly love to put their attention on it. Mm-hmm. And they completely neglect the wins. You could look at your day, and I could show you that there are wins, but instead, almost all the attention will go on the losses.
Imagine if your attention was stuck on your wins.
Yeah, get your attention stuck on your wins. Forget these; they're useless. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like you just focus on those. Focus on the wins.
God, I've got a big client list. My attention, I just can't get my attention on it, Rob.
If you do that,
client list.
all you do is win.
I've made so many sales this year. It's crazy. I can't stop thinking about it.
And all the cycles, and you look at the cycles, and every time you get a cycle closed, note down what happened. Look at the win. Take wins on different things. Good. This proposal out. Good. That number of calls out. Good. This connect. That productive conversation. Obsess on wins, and you'll get more wins. Sub wins and wins. Okay. Hope that helps. We will have more coming at you soon and get back on track here. If you like the channel, subscribe to it if you haven't already. And we'd love to see you hit the like button and share it on social with friends and things like that. Okay, thanks.